Hi, my name's Rachel Woolrich, and I'm a psychologist working in the Psychological Medicine Centre. And this is a brief video to share some ideas about how to support colleagues who are working from home at this time. Many of us are doing that full time in our jobs or just for a period of time while self-isolating. And it brings its own set of challenges, some of which can be seen on the cartoon on this slide, as it shows someone trying to concentrate, working at their computer, while the family generates chaos around them. I just, at this moment, must acknowledge the contribution of my colleagues Gwyn Webster and Emma Evans in the development of these materials. So the first question is balance or blend. So when working from home can become a multi-occupational, multi-person workplace, possibly a school, a leisure centre, as well as a home. And this challenges the boundaries of all our roles. I wonder how you view working from home, if you've experienced it. Is it a balance of opposing roles or a blend of everything? This is a quote from Anna Rasmussen. Blend implies that you can have a number of different things that you're focusing on in your life at the same time, whereas balance suggests that two sides are opposing, and when one is going up, the other is going down. So common stresses when working from home can include practical stresses, and I'm sure you've heard colleagues speak of these and you've experienced perhaps some of them yourself. So practical stresses like lack of space or IT equipment, cognitive stresses such as learning a new system, emotional stresses such as feeling guilty or a loss of purpose. And this is something that's been shown to be particularly distressing for healthcare staff who are working from home and feel that somehow they're not contributing in the same way as their frontline colleagues, or might feel guilty that they're not facing the same risks. And there might be relational stresses where people are experiencing increased conflict with others. So what can we do to support ourselves and other people working from home? The first but important step is to show compassionate recognition of these stresses. So it can be helpful to support others to share what is most stressful for them and validate this experience as making sense in the current context. We can't gloss over the stresses or fix them, but we can encourage each other to take action to reduce the layers of strain. One idea is to help others think about their core values that underpin their different roles at home. How are these different roles guided by their values? By having these conversations, we can help people connect to what really matters to them, at the same time as helping them feel heard. So this slide shows the exhaustion funnel. It can help people to encourage others to think about maintaining breadth in their life, particularly at a time of stress. And this is really challenging. So this picture of the exhaustion funnel is like an inverted triangle. So at the broadest part of the triangle at the top, we have a breadth of activities: work, chores, rest, and play. And as we move down a level, play, then rest, then chores disappear. So we're left then with just work and finally exhaustion. So it might look obvious, but in a healthcare crisis where people are driven by values such as caring for others and contributing, it's easy to deprioritize everything other than work, even when working from home. But if we do that, we lose breadth, we lose the areas that nourish us, and we're left exhausted. So there are lots of resources to encourage people to develop helpful habits when working from home. And in particular, considering using routine or rituals at the start or the end of the working day to mark the transition from our work role to our home role and vice versa can help. So starting work rituals might include setting a time to review emails or preparing snacks. A going home checklist can be helpful at the end of the day, including thinking about something that's gone well as something that's been challenging, much like a safety huddle when we're on site with our teams. And finally, planning and investing in how to maintain meaningful connection with colleagues is important. There's one thing that really helps with emotional distress, like guilt or responsibility, sense of contribution, is to be reminded that we're still part of a team, even when working from home. So asking a question to find out what would our colleague value most in connecting with their colleagues. For example, would it be helpful to buddy up with someone else working from home? And lastly, a slide just to think about coping with video call fatigue, as this is really relevant for colleagues working from home, of course, as well as people on site. But there's evidence that communicating via video call can increase cognitive strain, and it can contribute to exhaustion. So what tips might be useful to share? It can be helpful to take a little bit of time to settle and ground one's attention before clicking start, remembering the purpose of that video call and what we want to get from it. If there's time, it can be good to intentionally greet and connect with each person on the call, giving oneself a moment to feel being in their presence with those other people, rather than just connecting to our computer screen. To reduce the amount of time one feels one is socially performing, we can turn off the camera or use muting to give ourselves a bit of a break. But even looking away from the screen or just using the sound at times can help concentration. If possible, try and reserve video calls for things that can't be done via email, can't be done via email, shared drive, or phone call. And use part of the video call for connecting socially, catching up and chatting, as these are the aspects that are often missed through not being on site. Try and resist the urge to multitask while on a video call. And remember, in terms of planning the day, for the calls that you have responsibility for, try and make sure you're planning in short breaks or movement between calls, rather than just jumping from one meeting to the next. So just to summarize the key messages from this brief video, there are indications that there are specific stressors for healthcare staff working from home or off-site. And compassionate recognition for this from ourselves, from our colleagues, and from our managers is the key first step. We need to accept the limitations of what we can achieve, whilst trying to remain as flexible and adaptable as possible. Remembering breadth when working from home, and that our other roles are also important to invest in. So remembering to value time spent on things that are going to help us return to work on site. And this includes well-being. So on that note, I include a link to a self-compassion break, just a few minutes, recorded by my colleague Gwyn Webster, which is something that can be accessed as a way of thinking about one's own well-being, whether working from home or on site. Thank you for taking the time to listen.